Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. We really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about the New Beginning for Tribal Students program for fiscal year 2024. My name is Erin Riley. I'm a national program leader with the Division of Community and Education. And I'm here with Praley Chitnis, who is a program specialist in the Division of Community and Education as well. The New Beginning for Tribal Students program will close June 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. What we're going to talk about during this program is we're going to talk about what is in the requests for applications for New Beginning for Tribal Students. We're going to outline important pieces of the request for applications, and we will have time for questions from stakeholders. So we will ask you to come off mute and ask the questions. You're always welcome to put questions in the chat box, and we will address those at the end of the webinar. So NIFA Tribal Programs has 5 programs in which are geared towards 1994s and 2 that are eligible to 1862s and 1890s as well as 1994s. We have the New Beginning for Tribal Students Grant Program, which you are on the call for, the Tribal Colleges Equity Grants Program, which is an education-based program, the Tribal Colleges Extension Grant Program, Tribal College Research, as well as the federally recognized Tribes Extension Program. Today, we're going to focus on the New Beginning for Tribal Students request for applications. So the link below, you can find the request for applications, and Praley can put this in the chat box so it can take you straight to it. The due date for this program, as I mentioned before, is June 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We will not accept late applications, so please submit early. The total funding available in fiscal year 2024 is $5 million. These grants can go up to 4 years, so they can be 1-year grants or they can last up to 4 years. And the program code for New Beginnings is NBTS, which when you fill out the grant application, you will ask for that grant code. This is also listed in the request for applications. The maximum funding per award is $500,000. And we're going to talk during this session about the 2 types of grant types that you can apply for. The purpose and priorities of the New Beginning for Tribal Students program, and when Congress created this program, is to graduate students from land-grant universities. They also would like to increase the retention rate of tribal students at land-grant universities. And when we say land-grant universities, we're talking about the 1994 tribal colleges, we're talking about the 1862s, and we're talking about the historically Black colleges and universities, which we call the 1890 land-grant universities. You can use New Beginnings for Tribal Students funding to support recruiting of students, and this includes K through 14 students. Also tuition. It can be used for experiential learning. These funds can be used for student services such as counseling or academic advising. It can also be used for tutoring. While we go through this webinar, we are going to highlight some programs and what they have done with these funds. So you'll get a better idea of what the New Beginning for Tribal Students past funded projects have been used for. One of the projects that was funded in 2020 and it was given to South Dakota State University. The title was Pathways from Preparation to Graduation at Land-Grant Institutions. And the project addressed critical need for tribal students in South Dakota to prepare them for transition to and ultimately graduate from an institution of higher education. This particular project collaborated with South Dakota State University, Sinte Kaleska University. They also collaborated with an additional branch located on the Lower Brule Community College. And they also collaborated with tribal high schools that served Rosebud, Yankton, Crow Creek, Lower Brule tribal communities. They were building on a already existing Wokini project at South Dakota State University. And they used New Beginning for Tribal Students funds to build out into the tribal colleges and universities. And they used it as well to strengthen current programming that created additional pre-college and transitional programs to develop sustainable resources and increase the support for American Indian students at South Dakota State University, as well as these tribal colleges. So when you go through the request for applications, you will see that there are different project types. This one is an education teaching project, which should focus on developing skills necessary for entry and mid-level technical employment, or for entering graduate programs in food, agriculture, natural resources, and human sciences. New Beginnings for Tribal Students can be used to graduate tribal students with AA degrees all the way up to doctoral and postdoctoral students. There are two grant types that I referred to earlier, and we're going to go into these in depth in a little bit. But a regular grant type, if you apply for this, you go in as an institution on your own, and the maximum you can apply for is $250,000. That again can go from 1 year to 4 years. You could apply for a collaborative grant, type 1, which if collaborative grant, you will collaborate with another institution. And I'll explain that in the next few slides. And I'm going to go into more detail in the next few slides about the regular grant type and the collaborative grant type and the differences. A regular grant type has a maximum of $250,000. The applicant may request up to $250,000, including indirect costs. The project period may not exceed 4 years. And the applicant executes the project without the requirement of sharing grant funds with other project partners. If you're going to apply for a regular grant or a collaborative grant type 1, please state that in the abstract when you submit your RFA. Before I talk about a collaborative grant type 1, I want to talk about a program that Illisavik College did called Strengthening Tribal Students, Persistence and Retention with Place-Based Wellness, Behavioral Health, and first-year student support strategies. Our NIFA USDA funded this particular program at Illisavik College to host a variety of summer camps for middle and high school students and even some adults. The camps were held in the north slopes of Burrow Village in Alaska, and they were free for students to attend. Travel from the villages for camps were held in places in which they were covered, and they offered instructions that varied from year to year, but they typically included Inyo Paiute studies, cultural camps, STEM and climate-related camps, allied health camps, drivers education and art leadership camps. Some of these camps were day camps and they were open to local students that were transported to the camps daily. Some of them were overnight camps. And this funding helped provide lodging. And most commonly, the Illicellewaet College residential facility would sign up for these camps. They typically held them in spring, and some of them gave dual college credit. So they were able to attend high school and receive college credit while attending these particular camps. This is an example of a regular project type where all of the funds remained at Illicellewaet College. They did not collaborate with any other partners. The other grant type in this program is the collaborative grant type 1. This grant type has a maximum of $500,000. Applicants may request up to $500,000, but this is including indirect costs. The project period may not exceed 4 years. The difference between the regular grant type and the collaborative grant type is a collaborative grant type has to apply with a 1994 land grant institution or a non-land grant college of agriculture. They can collaborate with a high school, a tribal government, a community college, a technical school that serves tribal students, or an organization or NGO that works with tribal students. So there's a large number of organizations that you could partner with if you wanted to apply with a collaborative grant type 1, and you can apply for up to $500,000 for this grant type. Projects must include both research and related federal and non-federal budgets, and as well as subaward budget attached forms when you put your grant application into grants.gov on or before April 5th. Another program I would like to highlight is one that was done at the University of Arizona, and it's called the Come Back Home Summer Immersion Experience. This program brought together the University of Arizona Land Grant Institution, as well as Dene University. And what they were trying to do with this particular project was to increase the retention in what they call STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and mathematics. These majors, by involving native students in undergraduate research. They're trying to respond to critical needs that are within the reservation community. What they wanted to do in this project was to recruit 8 students per year for 2 years to participate in a summer research experience at Dene College. And 8 Navajo undergraduate STEAM students would be recruited from the Navajo Nations and from across the country with the invitation to, quote, come back home, unquote, for a 10-week summer research program. This program has a match requirement that NIFA is not authorized to waive. We have tried to waive it and we are not able to, but applicants must provide 100% matching. So there is a dollar for dollar basis of matching of federal funds under the New Beginning for Tribal Students program. Examples of match: students reported by non-federal scholarships working on the project. So the match cannot be federally funded, but you can use other forms of scholarships that are from NGOs or other non-federal foundations who are providing scholarships to the institution. Faculty salaries supported by non-federal sources working on the project. 1994 endowment funds can be used as a match. If there's any other sources of non-federal funds that students are using that are participating in the project, that can be used as a match. Some forms of BIA education funding can be used as match. And at times, land that you are doing projects on, that the value of that land can be used as match. So another project that I want to talk about is at the University of Arkansas, and it's called Bridging the Gap in Agriculture Food System Education for students. These are students at the University of Arkansas, and the goal of this project is to bridge the gap between high school and college level education for Native American, Alaskan, and Hawaiian students to provide a clear sense of purpose and belonging in order to increase successful completion of degree programs from colleges and universities. The challenges of recruiting and retaining Native students to colleges and universities has been laid out due to the perceived instruction of being disrespectful to the traditional knowledge that students have, as well as universities framing a devalue to cultural values and familial and social values that Native American students have. So this was what this particular school wanted to address when they submitted to this program and they were awarded. They did a pre-college workshop with the Native Youth Food and Agriculture Leadership Summit. This was hosted by the Indigenous Food and Agriculture Initiative, and they worked with this group, which brings together over 500 American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian youth that are interested in food and agriculture production, as well as policy. So I want to talk a little bit about the project narrative. When you submit, we would like a table of contents within your project narrative. What is the problem and challenge that this proposal is addressing? So if you have an institution that has a low number of Native American students, you'll want to document this when you submit your proposal. Write a good project justification. What are the institution's long-range goals beyond this project? So when this project ends anywhere between 1 and 4 years, how is the institution going to benefit and keep going with the goals of what this project has? Is this an innovative project, especially for your institution and the communities you're working with? And talk about the inclusiveness of your project. That includes the inclusiveness of the faculty, of the students, and of the community. Lay out the methodology. Describe how the institution is going to accomplish the objectives of the project, and include a timetable that lays out very clearly what your milestones are going to be throughout the entirety of the project. So if you have a 4-year project, explain each year how you're going to split up what the objectives are and how you're going to reach each one of these objectives that you have for this particular proposal. Are there measurable outcomes to your project? So if you have number of students, how are you going to collect this data? And do you have targets that you're going to try to reach? What are the partnerships and collaborative efforts of your project? So explain how the proposed project will maximize the collaborations and the partnerships. Is there a standing partnership or collaboration that you and the institution that you're working with, if you're doing a collaborative grant type 2, and explain it thoroughly. What is the institutional organizational commitment and capability? This is an important one. A lot of time panelists would like to know, how does the administration at the college support what you're doing? That's a very important piece, I think, when we go into panel, that panelists look for. We need a documentation of collaboration if you are doing a collaborative grant type 1. And if you are taking information from students and doing surveys with students, you will need to have a IRB or institutional review board approval that you will need to attach as a PDF. You will need a data management plan for this program. Applicants should clearly articulate how the project director and the co-PD's plan is to manage and disseminate the data that is generated by this project. The data management plan does not count towards the page limit. The data management plan cannot exceed 2 pages. If it does, it will get cut off when we retrieve the documents from grants.gov. Grantees should release information in a form that protects the confidentiality or privileged information of any data that you collect. And there is a link to NIFA Data Management Plan FAQs that explain very clearly how to submit a data management plan, how, in what format. If you are not collecting any data, we still need a blank page that states that is in PDF format. So the evaluation criteria. When we have the panel, we give the evaluation criteria to the panelists to review your proposals. So these are the 5 criteria in which the panelists will use to evaluate your proposals. The first one is the potential for increasing tribal students' graduation rates with AA, BS, or graduate degrees from land-grant institutions. So will this have an impact on the advancing the number of tribal students that graduate from land-grant universities, your project? And will it clearly meet and delineate the needs of tribal students? What are the proposed approaches and cooperative linkages of the project? Is it sound? What you have proposed are the approaches that you are laying out. Do they include objectives? Do your approaches include methodology, plan of operations? Is the timetable included? What are the products, results, outcomes? What's the dissemination plan of your outcomes? Think about these things. These are also listed in the request for applications. What is your institutional capability to perform the project and the degree to which the project will strengthen its recruitment and retention of tribal students? What we don't want to see is students leave any of these colleges after they've been recruited. How do you recruit them and how do you keep them within the institution and see them all the way through to graduation? And who are the key personnel that are doing the projects? Are they capable and do they have the expertise to work with tribal students? They have the knowledge and the capability to maybe train staff? And if they don't, how are they going to reach out to find those people that will train staff so that students will feel more comfortable? Or administration, as well as budget and cost effectiveness. So think about reasonability of costs and how much it will be to carry out projects. We don't want you to overinflate things, but we also don't want you to underinflate things. Think about the number of students. And we have run into a lot of issues actually where students will start out with a small number the first year, and they increase exponentially as the program grows. If this happens and you are awarded the project, it's easy to change the budget because we would like to see the success of these students. So I think now what we're going to do is open this up for any questions that you all have. I know there might be a few of them. And I believe, Praley, they can take themselves out mute, but are there any questions in the chat box or the question and answer at the moment?
Yes, we have one. It says, my institution received funding of this grant in 2023, serving K-12 in partnerships with the community college. Are we eligible to apply if we want to serve undergraduate students?
Yes, you are eligible to apply. Absolutely. Are there other questions?
You can either type them in the chat or the Q&A, or if you raise your hand, I can click on your name for you to speak. Oh, I'm sorry about that. 1 second. It says,
oh, it says chat is disabled. So I know there was one question. Okay, if you are just collecting the usual info for students, do you still need the IRB certification? If you are not collecting, if you are doing it anonymously, so you are collecting student information that is anonymous, there's no way to track who the student is, then my understanding is you do not need an IRB. If you are collecting any sort of PII information, or if there is a way to track back to the students, or if your institution thinks you need an IRB, then yes, you will need an IRB. But my understanding is that if there is no personal information such as names that are collected from these students, then you will not need an IRB. Good question. There was a question that I had from a phone call earlier that was how much in terms of NIFA USDA strategies should we look at? Definitely read through the USDA strategies in the request for applications, and you will want to you will want to follow those loosely in terms of making sure the project is based around a certain form of that, but I would definitely stick more to focusing on your institution and focusing on congressional intent, which is how do you recruit, retain tribal students? And a lot of times this has to do with training within the institution to make it a place in which tribal students feel comfortable. And that's a lot of what the projects are funded, that have been funded in the past, are looking at. So there's a question by Amas, is the 250,000 or the 500,000 per year? It's for the total number of years. Great question. It is for the total number of years of the implemented project. So if you have a 4-year project, the maximum you can get, if you're doing a collaborative type 1, is going to be 500,000 over those 4 years. So when you do your budget, you will need to have the first year be, say, 125,000, second year 125,000, third year 125,000, and fourth year 125,000 to make that entire program 500,000. Does that answer your question? Okay, we have another question. Is the program required to last 4 years? No, we have had projects that have been 1 year. We have had projects that have been 2 years. We have had projects that have been the full 4 years. So it can be 1, 2, 4 years. So you can apply for 1 year collaborative grant that for 500,000. There's not a problem with that as long as your budget, as we talked about in the evaluation criteria, makes sense to the reviewers.
and Erin, we have another question in the chat. It says, do we need to align with all strategic goals 3, 5, 6? Or do we align with one?
No, and yeah, hi Renee, yes, no, those particular strategic goals really are more of a guide for NIFA in terms of where this RFA lands within USDA strategic goals, but no, you do not need to align with all three of them. And I would, again, really take those strategic goals very loosely, really think more about the purpose when you're writing the RFA, which is how are you going to retain and graduate tribal students from land-grant universities? But really, really good questions here. Are there any questions that people have on Match for this program? Match is one of the most difficult things for this particular program, especially for small institutions, to come up with. And we have lots of questions, and we have a wonderful group of staff in our AMD that can help with match questions. Sometimes we come up with some innovative ideas, and we go into the Code of Federal Regulations to help you all make sure that we can make that one-to-one match. I want to say one thing about the request for applications, and I didn't highlight it because I do not want any of you to worry about it. This particular program in legislation has a no more than $500,000 per state per year cap on it. I do not want you all to worry about that. That's more of a NIFA administrative thing that we have to work through. We have not yet had a state receive more than $500,000 per year for this program. If we do run into that issue, what we might do is just ask to change the budget around per year so we can stay within that legislation. But please don't let that legislation scare any of you off from receiving this grant. Are there more questions? Rayleigh, do you see more questions? Oh, about matching. Okay, about matching. I'm assuming non-federal salaries are allowed as matching. Yes. Non-federal salaries of those faculty that are working on the program can be used as match.
Yes. Oh, go ahead, Erin.
Oh, so, and Brenda said, how do we meet match when faculty is paid for by federal grants? If they're paid for by non-federal grants, that can be used as a match. So, see, Brenda, these are great questions. So student scholarships from the American Indian College Fund, those can be used as a match. We do have an OGC ruling that some BIA funds can be used as a match. So if your school receives, or any of your students receive BIA fundings that are working on the project, that can be used as a match. If the institution in general would like to invest in the project, that can be used as match. If you are doing work on land, you can use the value of that land as a match. And I know we have some AMD staff on the call, so they may want to chime in to make sure that I'm staying in my lane. But we have had some institutions that are doing projects on reservations, and they were able to get the value of the land they were doing the projects on to meet the match. And you would have to go and get it valued by, I believe it's it would be the tribal council in certain cases. If you're not on a reservation, it would be from a land assessor, and then you can submit that as your one-to-one match. There are some third-party matching that you can do. If you are doing any sort of work with animals that the school doesn't own, or different things such as that, sometimes the value of those animals can be used as a match. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and we get very creative with all of you, because this is a difficult part of this program, and it's one that we want to be as helpful as we can in terms of making sure that it doesn't hinder anybody from applying for this program. So the estimated start date is going to be, if we panel, we're going to try to panel at the end of June. It would probably be about September 1st, Tom. So when you do your budget, you would probably want to put about September 1st in there. Are there more questions? These are great questions. Or would anybody like to raise their hand and come off mute? How would you apply to be on the panel? Great question, Bonnie. If you are interested in being on a panel, we have the panel set for this year. But if you, we have the panel set for this year, but if you would like to be on a panel in the future, we are happy to do that. And Praley can send you a link. We usually put it in our webinars. We did not have it in this one, but she can send you a link and put it in the chat of how to become a panelist. So Praley, are you able to put that in the chat box?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom, where to find the budget narrative page limit? You know, I don't think we have a budget narrative page limit in the RFA. Generally, it's about 2 pages and it does not count toward the project narrative. Another great question. What is the recommended number of students to be served by the project? This is a great question because one of the things about the schools and the programs that we work with, we have some projects that will have 2 students, 2 tribal students that have ranked just as high as projects that serve 50 tribal students. So I would say don't focus as much on numbers as you do the quality of your proposal, because 2 students can have just as big of an impact as 50 students if you really describe how this project is going to make students apply from land-grant universities and really go beyond that. So I would say one of the things that you could do when you write this proposal is address that. If you don't have a large number of students that you're working with, address it to the panelists so that maybe they understand the situation that you don't have as many tribal students. However, the outcome can still be extremely impactful, extremely positive, and really have a large reach for not only those students, but their communities. I hope that helps, Amas. So Praley has put the link into the chat on how to become a panelist. Are there more questions about this program? It's definitely a lot of work, but being on a panel is great learning experience. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jessica. We'll sit idle for maybe another 10, 15 seconds while people think of some questions. I have the discrimination statement put up. And I want to go back. Here are the emails of both myself and Praley. Please reach out to us, especially with questions on match. We will respond to you as quickly as we can. I know that match is extremely confusing, and we will talk through it with you. I also want you to know that if you struggle, I just want to say it again, don't let that match not let you apply to this program. We will work with you as much as we can to try to figure it out. Looks like, is there another question in the Q&A? Where is the application? Where is the mentoring plan on page 15 of the RFA? So the mentoring plan is something new that is not a requirement. I want to make that clear, but it is recommended. So it really should be within the project narrative, and it shouldn't be more than maybe 1.5 pages on how your faculty are going to mentor students within this project. So you will put the mentoring plan in the project narrative. Very good questions. Are there more questions from the participants? Again, I would really like to stress, if you all come up with any questions, especially after this RFA, or if you're like me, they wake you up in the middle of the night tomorrow, please do not hesitate to contact myself or Praley Chitnis. Another question has come in: can funds be used to pay off old balances for tribal students to recruit them back to college to complete their degree? That's the first time I have had that question, and so I cannot rattle the answer off the top of my head. However, what I can do is pass that particular question on to our budget staff and find out. What you can do, however, is provide them with stipends that can help them, and they could pay off their old balances. But if you were thinking internally, if students came on, I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head. But would you, Pri, be able to email me that question, and we will find out the answer to it? Praley put our emails into the chat box. So it's a very good question. And it's one we just need to make sure. I know you can give some scholarships and stipends, and they could pay off their old balances themselves. But I don't know if you could do that internally, and I don't think we have currently our A&D staff on the call. So would you be willing to send us an email with that question and we can respond to you, Pri? Excellent, thank you. Are there other questions? And they might pop in as we go. Okay, well, I would really like to thank, whoops, there's one more question. Do current staff have employed working on the grant count as in-kind support for matching, as long as they are not paid by federal funds? Then yes. Okay. With that, we hope all of you apply for this program. We look forward to seeing these amazing projects, and I want to thank you for your time and your attendance. And I really hope that you reach out to us in an email. I hope every one of you apply. I also want to say this is a great time to apply for this program. There's a very good chance you will get the grant because it is lowly subscribed to. So please apply. Remember, the date is June 5th before 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you are from, especially the tribal colleges, make sure that your SAMs is up to date, because this does take some time, the SAMs registration, and you have to have it in order to apply for grants through grants.gov. Thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing all of your applications. I look forward to working with you. If you do get the award, we have a monthly project director meeting via Zoom. So there's a great network of people that you can work with if you get the proposal, to help with any questions that any of you might have. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all of your attention, and we really look forward to working with you, hopefully in the future, and good luck.